From deep in the Burbank Media District, it's time for another edition of My Burbank Talks, presented by the staff of My Burbank. Now, let's see what's on today's agenda as we join our program.
Hello, everybody. Craig Sherwood here, along with Craig Durling and, of course, Ross Benson.
Here I am. Oh, no, you said that before.
Got all your chiclets in?
Yep, it's in.
All right.
Well, just got done with our meeting. In fact, and once again, I had another great pre-production meeting over at Patty's. That Craig, I'm sorry you missed that, but
Yes.
no free cake. But our waitress named Heather from Heather Yonder and Away, but our Heather said, give me a shout out. So if you haven't stopped by Patty's at the corner of Clybourne and Riverside, you can always say hi to Heather and say thanks a lot for coming in and having your name there. So
well, you know, last week when we had our production meeting over there, the help was great. We got the owner brought us cake, and today we were talking to a lady there that had a cute little dog. She was having their roasted chicken.
Yeah, and you know you can bring your dog to the outside patio and have your dinner.
Well, I brought you with.
Have dinner with your dog.
I brought you with.
Bring your dog. Sure. Clear the place out.
No, the dog was out there with her. So
You mean, I get it. His dog,
Right.
Dodger, would clear the
It would clear me out. Dodger and I don't necessarily get along, but sorry I couldn't make it. I had another commitment that wouldn't allow me to attend dinner.
We missed you. I had to operate that controller.
2 weeks ago.
When? Oh, 2 weeks ago. You're going to have to do it next week, too. Sorry.
Oh.
It's just a busy time of year for me with other obligations. And
Okay, well, enough of our.
at some point, we can try to do this thing remotely. We might be able to put that together.
We'll try it next week.
All right.
So the week that was, the week that will be, that was.
Twas and twill.
So last week, Monday was kind of a quiet day, but we did the podcast that day, so you know about that. Tuesday, we had the city council meeting. And on Tuesday, the police commission met with the council. Many issues were brought up, including the encryption of the radios. And while they said on the meeting that Verdugo Fire was going digital, they already are digital.
They have been. Yeah.
They're talking about them going encrypted. The fire department is not. We did find out that the fire department is not going to be encrypted. They had no plans to go encrypted, and that's enough of the encryption talk for that.
Yeah, I don't think you'll see any fire departments going encrypted.
Well, it doesn't make sense if they need to,
because there's so much mutual aid and stuff.
They need to talk to each other. They can't do it. They can't figure out which channel they're talking, or they can't hear each other.
And as more police departments go encrypted, we find the same problem when mutual aid is needed to bring other departments in that don't have their radios programmed with the encryption.
I mean, like LAPD and helicopters. Yes.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, didn't San Bernardino, I remember, San Bernardino or Orange County, somewhere fire department went encrypted. And it lasted less than a week.
Orange County went encrypted. They had to undo it.
Yeah, because you killed people.
Yeah, there's too many interoperability issues with fire department.
And on a selfish thing, we still think the media should be able to hear what's going on, for news gathering purposes and just for transparency. So
yeah,
we're locked out too.
And we've talked about that because if the departments aren't going to adjust in releasing important public safety information by other methods, then open the radios, But I understand why they are going encrypted, but they have to adjust and provide necessary information in other ways.
We're working on it, and we'll give you updates as we go.
Yep.
We will. The Office of Independent, how is that, OIR?
You're looking at me. Independent Review?
There we go.
Hey.
Well, last week they met the same night with the police commission.
Yes.
They gave their report, and Mr. Janako, who owns and operates the Office of Independent Review, said that they have dealt with the other department they've dealt with the longest,
Palo
Alto, and they had the same problem. They went encrypted, and apparently they made things work. So
we'll find out. More to come. The council also discussed drive-through restaurants. And, of course, because it was funny, nobody would say Raising Cane's at the meeting. It was just that restaurant. They're calling it that restaurant.
Is that implied at this point?
Yeah, it's implied by everybody. And finally, near the end of the meeting, they started saying actually Raising Cane's. that a lot of this is caused by them. I found it interesting that during the communication period, a spokesman for In-N-Out talked to the council about how he didn't want to see, things brought in. And I had never thought about In-N-Out being part of the problem. But Ross, you said you drove by In-N-Out the other night, and what'd you see?
They were out. How they queue now is the cars that come out after you get your food. You go in there and you turn,
And not to interrupt, but they've taken out like 10, 20 parking places.
So you can,
those cars can queue in there.
Right.
So now you've lost 20 parking places for queuing. But go ahead.
And the cars were out onto First Street, First Street, all the way up to San Fernando and around the corner on San Fernando just to get in. So that had to be at least 30 cars.
So
at least. So anybody on San Fernando can't take that right turn onto.
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, there's two.
The right turn pocket. Oh, there were two lanes now?
Yeah.
And I think that there's no businesses they're affecting really by having, parking for their business. But the point is, they're queuing on city streets in traffic lanes.
Well, if you recall, when that was originally built, there was a Mexican restaurant at the end. And then when the furniture store took over, they consumed that restaurant. Right. So they had changed it around. In-N-Out, I don't care. You can go to any In-N-Out.
Right. And there's going to be a line.
Right.
Same thing with Glendale. Same with
if you want to eat in the restaurant or go inside to order and pick up your food, good luck working your way through the snake for the drive-through to find a parking space, to actually get to a parking space.
And I just saw on the news today, they're opening 4 more In-N-Outs in California.
Yeah. More in than out.
It's a good burger. To me, the fries kind of suck, but I think the burgers are outstanding. But you know what? You can get.
But it's fun watching them make the French fries.
But who?
Because they cut them right there in the big chunker thing. Yeah.
Chunker thing.
It's a technical term.
Is that a technical term?
It's a technical term. Yes.
Chunker thing.
That's
got to be a sound effect.
Trademark that.
Got to be a sound effect for a chunker.
Well, we don't have that, but we have also for In-N-Out. We have the official cheeseburger.
Paramount Deli.
Moving on, that council meeting.
And by the way, if you like them to make it how they make the French fries, go watch how they smash the lemons at the I can't think of the name. It's the hot dog on a stick.
Oh, I see. I know how they make the lemonade. Yeah.
Yeah. Go watch how they do that. How they. That's an interesting thing too.
To put a bow on the drive-through thing, we're not picking on In-N-Out. This is a general issue with new.
So they look to their cities. They're going to decide on how much area you have to have for queuing, how much different things and all that, and I mean, it's the way we are nowadays. We're a fast food society that we want it now. We don't want to get out of our cars, and we found in the pandemic. That was the only way the businesses could stay open was drive-throughs and that kind of stuff. So,
but you think in the initial approval process that would be caught, because in my day, when I was part of the planning process of approvals, I would look at because I was a traffic guy, that was my role. I looked at ingress egress routes and how it would affect adjacent streets and stuff, and I would put the kibosh on it as far as I'm concerned. Now, to add to that, there were still plenty of times that they kept pushed it right on through, despite my objections. But
I can't remember when, but at one time I know the Taco Bell wanted to move from Magnolia and Buena Vista up to Burbank and Buena Vista, where the
B&B
Cafe is now, and they wanted to put a drive-through in, and the city would not allow them to because of the egress problem and all that being on that. Now to me, they're on the same exact corner on a different street. So I didn't understand what the reasoning was, because they're exactly the same piece of property, just on a different intersection.
Unless the direction of traffic going past it is different. But like the Taco Bell and Magnolia and Rose,
yes-ish.
Mm-hmm. If there's more than 3 vehicles in the drive-through, you can't get into the lot to park.
No. If you do park in the lot, you can't back out.
You can't get out.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot.
But the one where B&B Cafe is, the neighbors also did not want
the noise and the traffic and all that
neighborhood. So
I would love to live next to it. Taco Bell.
We were pretty
Dig
fortunate.
a tunnel, just walk right through,
They've rebuilt that Taco Bell at Hollywood Way in Magnolia.
Yeah.
Somebody just asked me the other day, you probably don't get up that part of town, but they rebuilt Jack in the Box. Think of the Jack in the Box is open 24 hours a day, 365 days, and it hadn't changed in 20 years. I guarantee there was stuff falling apart inside. They literally.
As long as they don't change the tacos ever.
Exactly.
I still miss the Jack in the Box at Alameda and Buena Vista.
Buena Vista.
But
now a child care center.
That was
okay.
that's for our back in the day
Yep.
episode. So anyhow, they've worked on passing orders for drive-through restaurants. I think it's a happy medium for everybody. Lastly, at the meeting, and this once again the meeting went to what 2 in the morning like usual. These meetings go just forever, kind of like our podcast. People say
they go till they're done.
Which I think is why they should have more council meetings instead of only 2 a month. If they did that, they might not have to go so late every night when they have one.
That said,
they brought up council member Zizette Mullins brought up an agenda item about how the mayor conducts his business in Burbank and what the councils can do about that type of thing. And Mayor Anthony actually gave I thought it was a very heartfelt apology. It was interesting that he brought him on for a podcast, and I kind of said, I think we should give an apology out to the citizens of Burbank, just for dragging Burbank into this thing. And he was kind of adamant that that he didn't think so. I mean, I respected his opinion. I mean, it was a good conversation. But at the meeting, he kind of changed a little bit, and with reflection, I think, and because I think he saw some of the people who were actually hurt by what happened, and were kind of embarrassed, and all the backlash. So I think he had a happy medium, and he did apologize for his actions. Now I got to tell you, I accept that his apology, and I think that all said and done. Well, I think the council needs to have recourse if something were to happen.
yes.
Because let's face it, after the Stacey Murphy thing, they should have back then put something in line. If a council member's, does something especially illegal, they should have a way of removing the council member.
Well, they have a way to put him in. They don't have a way to take him out.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, that's just as mayor, though. I'm talking about off the council completely, though.
Oh, I see.
So anyhow,
Nothing on the city books.
nope. So,
But I would direct everybody out there to check out the myburbank.com website and the article you wrote about that. Basically, like, okay, let's move on.
yeah, let's move on. Yeah, exactly. Let's move on. I think it's
And
it's it's a shame it happened, but it happened, and we beat it to death now.
let's get back to business.
Exactly.
Well, I do know, and I've said it from day one, we watch different people move into that seat. And I ask all the council members, in high school, did you take Mayorship 101? And they said there wasn't one. Well, you look at that seat, there is not even a guideline of what the mayor's responsibilities are here in Burbank. They need to, and they're going to, make up a policy of your responsibilities as a council member, as a vice mayor, as the mayor.
As a council member?
Well, I said that.
Yeah.
And those are things that I get it. Where was his training? He didn't have any. But I will say, I've talked to him at a couple of events now since then. He knows the next couple of months.
Well, basically, they gave Mayor Spanky a spanking for an hour and a half, is what they did.
Oh, so that spanking is okay.
Yeah, that
Okay.
a public. Yeah, exactly.
Can't win. But to take it one step further, did they know his style and his kind of behavior, quirky behavior, before they appointed a mayor, or no?
Well, I think so. I think they understood that he's not the usual.
So why did they appoint him mayor?
Well,
he deserved it.
Oh, okay.
I think he earned it. And he had. And let's remember, the mayor.
They didn't expect this to come up, I guess.
The
huh?
mayor in
No.
Burbank has no power whatsoever, except he can go around saying, "I'm the mayor."
He sits in the middle.
That's it. And he runs the meeting. I mean, he can't pass anything. He can't write any directives. He can't do one single thing. It's the council has to act as a whole.
The figurehead.
Well, if people are wondering, he is not doing any ribbon cuttings. He is not doing the state of the city. He has been removed from that. And that I know personally, I've talked to him. That hurts, and he understands why. But that is the action of the consequences of his actions.
And is that for the duration of the remainder of his term?
And his term is 2 more months.
Just 2 more months. Huh?
Yeah.
So middle of December, they will probably be picking Vice Mayor Schultz to move up to the mayor spot. It's usually how it works. It's vice mayor to mayor, and
different council members did have some requests. One of them was Nick Schultz thinks it's wrong that the mayor is the first one that always speaks, meaning if he brings up a topic or something.
Well, that
is just decorum of let people speak.
Right, but that's also his prerogative as the mayor. He doesn't have to. Yes, every other mayor has always said, "I'll be the last one to speak, the last one to vote." Right. But he wants to be the first. I mean, and that's his prerogative. That's his style. I don't.
We'll see.
Yeah, I mean
we're still allowed to disagree in this country, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Let's move on to Wednesday.
9/27.
9/27.
So, Senator Anthony Portino's gun measure, SB 368, that we actually had a story on my Burbank, was passed and signed by the governor into law.
It was actually signed by the governor on the 26th.
Okay,
yeah.
I didn't say
We posted it on the 27th.
Yeah, we reported on the 27th.
Yeah.
You guys are both our gun people, so comments?
I did a little looking, and it's funny because the more looking I did into because SB 38, Senate Bill 368,
368, and SB
the one we're talking about, but Senate Bill 2 is also wrapped up in that because that's deals with the Second Amendment and the Bruin decision and all that. But the more I looked into it, the more detailed. I mean, SB 2, I went to print it for tonight. It's 40 pages long. SB 368, not so long, but that's the one that we're talking about that got signed in, and and that puts some more requirements on gun store owners. Like there's part of it. I'll read some of it here, but would require a licensed firearms dealer to accept for storage a firearm transferred by an individual to prevent it from being used during periods of crisis. Which is I'm for that. I mean, if there's domestic stress, domestic issues going on, or someone's going through some depression, or just feeling like I shouldn't have a gun around, or something like that, or they have young children, they had a baby, and don't feel that it's safe to have a firearm around the house, or what have you. But it now will require gun stores to accept those for safekeeping. For what period I don't know, and what the criteria will be. I'm not. I think they'll still have to hammer out.
Do they report that to somebody that they've done that, or is that just
I think they would have to
confidential?
Keep a register.
But is it confidential, or do they have to report to a government agency that person?
Oh no, it doesn't go into that much detail in the summary here. But the other option, if anybody's looking for it, is you can turn firearms in for safekeeping to your local police department. Don't walk it into the lobby. Keep it in the car and go into the lobby and tell them what you're there for, and they'll have an officer meet you outside usually. But this now will require local gun stores to provide the same service, and the details of which aren't outlined in the summary here. That's just one thing in the section.
So anybody could take a firearm for safekeeping, and they'll just hold it for you?
Gun store or a police department?
No, a civilian to take a gun in for safekeeping at the time.
That's what this Senate bill
allows. Yeah.
What this would require. Yeah, that's the first thing. Would require a licensed firearms dealer to accept for storage. And it also says,
and the thing I like about that is maybe some people don't feel comfortable going to a police department to do that, and they feel
absolutely,
and they know Joe owner at the gun store, and they say, "Hey, look do me a favor," and now they'll do this for him.
Yeah, and that's a good point you bring up, because some people, if they're involved in a domestic situation, they don't want to involve the police department at all until they have to, and now you're bringing a firearm. Oh, why do you want this to leave this for safekeeping? then that might open up a can of worms.
We'll post a link to both both bills on our description.
Just a couple more bullet points on this before we move on. Though it'll also prohibit. This is an interesting one. Basically, the long and short of it is a local gun store owner could not offer any item in their inventory for a contest. Basically, a contest, a raffle, or a game of chance. It's worded in here. Like you see some outfits that, hey, we're holding a gun raffle or something like that. They wouldn't be able to do that now.
Now, is that just for a gun?
That's exactly my question. Exactly my question. Because you have the Gun World or Big Five that has a store full of merchandise, so they can't have a raffle for them. Maybe that's something they're kind of stuck with as a FFL, Federal Firearms Licensee, that now that kind of cuts them off from being able to have any raffle, or if that is going to be an exemption under this. Again, this is just a quick summary, but I would recommend anybody that wants more detail to look it up. And we're going to put links in the show notes of this episode. But real quick, it's all for both sections, both of those Senate bills. It's short for legal info, but leginfo.legislature.ca.gov. Little long, but for that reason, we'll put it in the show notes so you can do your own research on that. Again, this is just kind of a highlight thing, but letting everybody know that this was signed into law.
And something that when Burbank passed their ordinance, they're talking about no minors are allowed in a gun store now. I don't know. Isn't Big Five has got to be considered a gun store? So I need to find out what Big Five has done. Have they made a separate fenced-in area for their gun area?
Well, Gun World is like that down here, but
Big Five sells
no other
sporting
stores,
goods and everything else.
Yeah, I don't think that any other gun store have been in town, including Big Five, which is a sporting goods store that sells guns.
Right.
I don't know if they're somehow exempt.
I'm looking at that, and we'll get back to another podcast, and I'll find out more about it.
And we may be able to, dig into the text of these sections and find that in there somewhere. But more to come on that.
That was in the Burbank ordinance they passed before, so a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. Good question.
Moving on to Thursday. Ross and I both set our alarm clocks. And we went to a chamber. The Chamber of Commerce sponsored a seminar, informational period where restaurant owners would come in and bring in their plastics, and the recycle department was there, and they discussed
utensils, straws,
plates, all those sorts of things.
Like that,
and they said, okay, here's what the ordinance is going to be. We're going to try to pass in November. Here's the timeline it's going to go in. They want to work with the restaurants and really try to get more sustainability. The one thing I found interesting, they said there's a lot, and Ross will get into a lot more things too, but the one thing I found interesting was that restaurants that seat 31 or more people will not be allowed to use plastic utensils or disposable utensils. So basically that means if you're McDonald's and you seat 40 people in there, you're going to have to use silverware, and they'll have to have a dishwashing station and everything else. And that'll be a very interesting, that's going to be interesting to see how they come up with that. There's going to be a waiver that restaurants get, a hardship waiver, but I can't see the city giving hardships to fast food corporations.
Well, we jokingly said in their production meeting, I bet a lot of these restaurants are going to be ripping out all but 29 seats.
And leave 29 seats left in a restaurant.
Well, some of the interesting things that we heard that day, Ken Berkman, who is the Director of Public Works, and Amber, who has done a podcast on recycling here, we learned a lot of things. If they do have to put in dishwashers, they will be allowed, a waiver or a timeline to do it, because planning and installation, all that. The other thing I did not know, that on recyclables, black, most of the machinery that Burbank Recycle uses at their plant is all optical. Black, the machines don't read.
Doesn't register it?
Yep, and that's why in recyclable containers you can't use black.
Oh. But most plastic silverware or plasticware
is black.
Yeah, right.
They told us there's the difference, but it was really... They have hired a couple of consultants.
It was a very good meeting. I mean, very informal, and all the business owners, the restaurant owners, they were all very cooperative. They were not fighting it. They weren't getting mad. The chamber put this on, and I thought it was very, very well done.
And they made it very clear. The city's not out to slap your hand.
No.
The city's not out to cite you. They are being demanded by Senate bills that they have to recycle, and in time, they're kind of getting on board, and that's why.
And Burbank's kind of doing it first. Before I was against this because, it's not fair to Burbank business owners. They're doing all these things, and then somebody says, I'll go across the street to Los Angeles, and I'll get a discount, and I won't have to pay for these things. Well, it's coming to Los Angeles, too. They're state laws, and they have time to enact them, and Burbank's just getting ahead of the curve, which is fine.
Right. They see it coming, so they're trying to get ahead of it, right?
They're being, for once, proactive.
Well, and if people remember back in January, the city came down with this ordinance, and all the restaurants said, whoa, we got
we know nothing about
rooms
this.
full of
right.
recyclable
There was
stuff.
They have all that stock of stuff that they need to go through.
There was a terrible job of outreach in the beginning.
And they learned that. And so now they have hired some consultants that know the laws and regulations.
Right.
They're there to help. So restaurant owners, if you have questions, I know the Chamber of Commerce can help you. That's who the people, the businesses can go through. And our own recycle center have consultants that'll come out and work with you.
Yeah, it's not an us versus them kind of thing.
No, not at all. So very interesting, and I thought it was very well put together, and it was well done.
Well, one thing, we going from recyclable plastics to a kid that did a really dumb thing.
Yeah, and not the first kid that's done this, not the last kid will do this, but this kind of thing would never happen 20 years ago. It wouldn't happen because there was no social media 20 years ago. But now because of social media, and sometimes a kid can only turn to that, I guess evidently a kid made some threats on social media, showed a toy gun, which you probably could not tell was a toy when in the social media post. And Luther Burbank Middle School got put on, alert. And police immediately, because it was a very high priority thing for police.
The 13-year-old student, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Very high priority for police, once again, high priority case. And they figured out through, the post and everything else. And they arrested the student, the 13-year-old.
First, they put out that it was not a viable threat.
Right.
And that calms a lot of people's jets.
Right. So they arrested him. The parents were very cooperative. They found the toy. It was a toy gun. They found the toy gun. Once again, it's just a unfortunate situation, and maybe a 13-year-old who felt he was backed into a corner, maybe, or he's probably bullied at school or something like that. And I'm going to tell you right now, if anybody says there's a zero bully policy and all that stuff, and the real world is calling your name.
It's been a while since you've been in school.
No, it's a long while since I've coached in a school. I
don't mean you. I mean anybody that doesn't think it's going on.
I spent 40 years, coaching and teaching it at a school, and I saw it go on. And I always put, because I had incidents where I was bullied against back in at Jordan Junior High School, so I understand that side of it. And I always went out of my way as a coach to never let that kind of stuff happen. But it goes on.
To the PD for investigating it quickly, because you could have 99 that are false.
My only complaint
harmless, but that one that's real.
My only complaint was that all the school district did was they put a Facebook post out, which I don't know how many people are on their Facebook page, but they didn't put anything on their website about it. And they didn't send anything out to the media about it. So we found out on Facebook, and when we reported in the afternoon, about half an hour, 45 minutes later, then the police put out a release after that. But I think they should have put something out officially earlier, so if people saw a lot of police cars around Luther, they would say, "Oh, okay, there was an incident there. It's under control. Everything's fine." Instead of why are all these police cars at Luther?
Right.
Well, we don't know.
We don't know. If
I was going to ask you, Ross, because you mentioned the police put out that they found out quickly, as soon as they found out it was not a viable threat, how they communicated that to the public.
They put that out different ways.
Okay.
But
when was the first time you saw it, though?
When the police put out their release.
Okay, which was in about.
What is that on Twitter or Facebook?
Twitter, all their social.
Yeah, that's about 4:30 in the afternoon, though.
Right, but I don't know if the school district, having not all the channels that parents do, to get emails from the school. We don't know if
We're signed up for every email.
we are signed up, but how many out of all the schools in the
Yeah.
district, Craig, we get things from now 2 schools.
What's one of the schools?
Well, that's the thing. That's what
No,
kind of
that school didn't send anything out.
Well, but also one of our employees has a son that goes there, and she didn't.
And she didn't know about it. Yeah.
So Craig,
Communication's a key.
out of all this, I think what we're trying to say, and I guarantee we don't have any kids listen to our podcast. If they do, I tell you, they're really bored.
Get a life.
But
No, they're very mature.
there you go. But parents, you need to hear a little threat. If your kid repeats it, retweets it, says something about it, talks to anybody about it, they're adding to the problem. And they can be charged. The police made it very clear
As an accessory.
that you will be dealt with. So
Pay
threats,
attention to those kids.
threats,
They're still yours.
yeah, exactly. So moving on.
Also on Thursday, the Burbank Arts and Education Foundation held their State of the City, where they honored Joe McCarthy of Disney and Sally Chan of Warner Brothers with the Spotlight Awards. And the event was held at the Federated in North Hollywood. And I will say this, I put a tweet out saying I didn't think the school district should have a fundraiser in North Hollywood and they should keep their tax money in Burbank. And it is not actually put on by the school district. It's put on by the Burbank Arts and Education Foundation. But I will still say I think events like that should be held in Burbank to support Burbank businesses and the tax base here. Because even every dollar spent, a portion that goes to city services. So anyway, Ross, you were there, and it was you said it was a pretty good event, and you enjoyed it.
Yeah, I thought my show notes, I wrote down some of the things that went on. I will say that the school board president spoke, and John Promo spoke and gave some examples of a nurse that now works in New York and went to Burbank Adult School to get her LVN or RN, and she said just our adult school is magnificent. She learned things there that none of the other nurses in New York know, and she contributed to our schooling. But the Burbank Arts and Education Foundation, there's an article on My Burbank, was started many years ago to supplement the funds for art programs. Every kid should have art. And Joan McCarthy, who has worked for Disney for many years, and Sally Chan, they have championed tons of money coming toward the Burbank Arts. And both of them they're both retiring. They were awarded and thanked for their hard work. I know personally, I've worked with both of them for many, many years, and Disney would bend over. People always say, well, why doesn't Disney donate? Well, they do in other ways. They sponsor kids. Warner Brothers have internships, all these things. So it was a rather nice event. And like I said, both Joan and I got to see they had some original people that started Burbank Arts for all. Craig Murray, it was great to see him there. And Dr. Miller spoke from Muir and some other people. So it was a great night.
By the way,
And I'll assume since you were there, people can see some photos from that on the website.
They are on
we have a story online presently about it.
myburbank.com.
And speaking of Dr. Miller at Muir, just a quick shout out to Lisa Paredes, our associate editor, for the great story she did on Japan Day. So check that out also.
I know who shot the pictures.
Sheila E. wasn't there, was she, on the drums?
Is it Ross A. Benson?
You got it.
All right.
Sheila E. was not on the drums, was she?
No.
Okay. Okay, and Friday, Ross, you had a ribbon cutting on Friday. Why don't you give us a quick rundown on that?
Well, people probably have driven down Magnolia, or who hasn't gone to Baskin Robbins next to Tequila's on Magnolia, across from the original Magnolia Theater. And there has been a gym in that parking lot. If anybody remembers, longtime Burbank people will remember, wasn't Oro Wheat had a store there,
or we used to have their factory down in the Clybourne.
And this was
The
their
bread,
store.
Clybourne and Chandler.
And on Magnolia, in that little shopping center, was a store for Arrowwheat. Well, it's been a gym for many years, and a gentleman took it over. Him and his wife, husband-wife team of Alex and Tyler. They have a great website. We're going to try to do some stuff with them. It used to be a boxing ring. Boxing ring's not there anymore, but it's a full course. And this ribbon cutting was kind of different because he had other vendors that are Burbank businesses, like Fleet Street came in and would help you with your shoes. And there was an acai bowl vendor there. There was a hot meal,
It's a great idea.
Yeah, it really was, to spread the word.
And warm yourself up to the neighborhood.
That's right.
Your other businesses.
So hopefully we're going to have some stuff from Alex and Tyler in my Burbank soon. And then thank God there was a weekend.
Whew.
We had a weekend.
A quiet one.
It was a very quiet one. So with that,
Maybe for you guys,
oh, okay.
we did a ribbon cutting. Another one.
No.
Sela
We need a
Cafe.
jingle for ribbon cuttings now. This is a common thing.
See, you know what gets me? There are
Ribbon cuttings?
there are a lot of new businesses.
Which ribbon cutting you did on the weekend?
Yeah, what happened? I don't have that.
I do remember writing it down. Sela's Cafe, which is on Magnolia. They had a ribbon cutting and then a grand opening. They're just, I remember putting in the show notes the address, but they got deleted somewhere.
How do you spell it?
CEL.
I want to say it's a 3300 block of Magnolia.
Celia's?
Mediterranean Cafe.
So as
Just east of Chase Bank.
Not Celia's Rancho restaurant.
No.
What it used to be before that? You said
Healthy Bites?
Healthy Bites?
Healthy Bites.
Yeah.
And they've moved in. It's Mediterranean. They got a gorgeous patio in the back. And I'm sorry, Burbank is too darn small. There, I'm talking to some guests who are relatives of the owners, who are my next door neighbors, 3 houses up from my house. I mean, I can't move around Burbank. And the lady said there were guests there.
But you didn't know them, but they knew you.
Yeah, this is true.
All right. The magic of the internet. It's 30. Where'd it go?
I said around
3511 West Magnolia.
3511.
And I'll tell you, really good. They do catering, got a great patio. Really, really sweet people. So I hope to
Good for
see
them.
that moving forward.
Anything else on the weekend for you?
Well, I did a reunion for Burbank High class of 73. I was a busy bee this weekend. And it was at the Elks Lodge. I got to see Fred DeLange.
You're the busiest man in Burbank.
Well, I do get around and people say that.
That you do.
Well, it was nice to see. That was Joyce Rudolph's graduating year that she passed away last year. But that it's nice going to reunion, people having good times.
But that's further proof there's always something going on in Burbank.
Oh, definitely.
Right?
Well, with that, the week that was, let's take a quick commercial break and we'll be back with you in 1 second.
How would you like your business advertised in this very spot? My Burbank Talks is looking for local businesses interested in a 30-second spot to appear in our podcasts. If you're interested, please email advertising@myburbank.com and we'll be glad to discuss all the exciting possibilities with you. Now, back to our podcast.
After the commercial, we got to talk about what we all started here, myburbank.com. There are some fantastic stories. There are a list of podcasts that we have a dozen people doing. And if you're listening to this podcast, go look at myburbank.com. In fact, today, there are so many news stories in Burbank, we had to rearrange our front page. And Craig put in hours to realign the pages. We now have
9 stories instead of 5.
And I put in minutes doing spell check and putting
That's
the
right.
dates in for us, right?
so
So we had a little bit of an upgrade to our website today. So Monday being today, we had we started a street closer from Orange Grove to Olive on San Fernando, and they have a lot of things. Let's see, Ross, you know why they're? I don't have it down here.
they're
for
doing concrete repair.
concrete repair. Is this for the one-way street?
No, that's first. No, that's San Fernando.
San Fernando.
Today, when I drove coming here to the studio, They have one southbound lane and all the other lanes are closed between Olive and Orange Grove.
So once you made it past in and out traffic.
I'm actually reading a release right now they sent out, and it's really not clear what streets they're talking about here. You know,
well, like I said, I drove by it and you can't make a left turn to go down
right
street.
Okay, that's good that you actually, because their release is actually very confusing. When I'm looking at it.
There is a lot here, yeah.
But I like I said, I drove by it. If I didn't see it for myself, because my brain says, what are they doing if I don't know about it in this city? What's going on?
Who do they think they are?
But there was one lane going southbound, and all the northbound lanes are closed for this reason.
Well, the great thing, though, they'll be done by Wednesday, October 11th. So by then you have the streets will be open and impacts will be done.
Two episodes from now, it'll be ancient history.
There we go.
So what else happened today then?
Well, Arts and Public Places had their meeting.
It wasn't canceled?
And one of the things they talked about was the Johnny Carson park shade structure. And they're doing a call for artists to go, I guess, do some art on the new structure. And they talked about the Verdugo Aquatic Facility Public Art Update also, which they're doing some artwork at.
Is that just because I occasionally do an event there? Is the shade structure on the stage?
Yes.
Or
yes.
It's for the stage?
Yeah, they put it in. And
good. Beautiful.
Finally.
I don't have to bring my Easy up anymore.
Finally, yes.
The landlord
I will say the Verdugo Aquatic, Craig Sherwood, I know you don't get too close to pools.
I don't go anywhere near a pool.
I know.
Ever since he saw Jaws as a kid.
No, before that. He doesn't go around pools. But I will say my granddaughter swims every day there.
Let me put it this way. Whales swim, Sherwoods don't.
Whales swim, Sherwoods don't. Okay.
Yeah, Sherwoods
But Driftwood does.
Yeah, Driftwood
Sherwood doesn't.
But I'll tell you, my granddaughter is loving that pool.
What's the only wood you know that doesn't float though?
Deadwood?
Natalie.
Oh,
I'm sorry, but you know what? It's been long enough.
This is why we don't have kids listening, because they would not get that. They wouldn't get that joke at all.
There you go.
Well, I'll be at Verdugo Park. That's my treat on Wednesdays, taking my granddaughter to swimming lessons.
And very well.
So we'll count that as a Ross A. Benson public appearance. If you want to hang out with Ross for a little while.
How true.
He'll be there.
Just don't let somebody try to give you a swimming lesson and then hold you under. Because that happened to me about 5 years old at the old swim place. Where was it? Up on Glen Oaks and
Lucille's.
That's where it was, at that location.
You know how they taught me to swim?
And I got held under, and I've been terrified of pools ever since.
Well, that was. I thought that was your baptism. He
Yeah.
held you under, but I was always told I learned to swim before I learned how to walk. And back in that day, even though I'm way younger than both of you, but they threw me in the deep end. There was somebody there to catch me.
Right.
They threw you and they tossed you into the deep end of the pool.
I've heard a lot of people do that. They say, you know what, they'll learn how to swim real fast.
Instinct. Either you have the natural instinct or you don't, right?
As long as somebody there to catch you before you're all the way drowned instead of just half drowned.
Right.
Well, we had a pool. When I grew up, we had a pool in my backyard. That's how I learned to swim, was throw him in.
Kerplunk.
And he'll go get to his side,
Yeah, it's funny for everybody else except for the person being thrown in.
Exactly.
Not traumatizing at all.
But I will say,
we don't remember it, but we're talking about it now.
I'll tell you, I am so grateful. I have a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old, and they both can swim excellently. So if they are ever in somebody's backyard and get pushed in, thrown in, I never have to worry about it.
Incredibly important thing to teach children, yeah.
I'm sure I could dog paddle for 30 seconds or something, but that's about as far as it would go. Anyhow.
Your dog would drag you under.
Yes.
He'd take you out.
My dog swims better than I do. Now, tomorrow on the 3rd, the Burbank Police are going to be unveiling their pink cruiser, which they do every year to celebrate the month of October. And Ross and Ashley will be there to cover that. So we'll have a story on Maya Burbank about that.
Well, what's that about?
What's what about?
The pink?
The pink.
It's Cancer Awareness Month.
Breast cancer.
Breast cancer.
Yeah.
You
see the police departments will break out the pink patches.
Yeah.
And you know what?
I think they sell those too.
In Burbank?
They usually do.
You can go
spread the word, yeah.
And the money will go to the Cancer Society. And they do it every year, the pink cruiser. there's a gentleman in Burbank, and tomorrow we'll have the story up, that donates, doing the wrap on that car, and it'll be unveiled tomorrow. That car will be all over town.
Yeah, they take all the events that they're involved in. Also tomorrow night, and I'm not really sure why this is happening at the time it's happening, but there's going to be a virtual town hall sponsored by Laura Friedman. It's going to be online and a Zoom type of thing, and she's doing a town hall on tenant and landlord's rights, and she's partnering with the Burbank. I will find it here. Burbank Tenants Union, and it's from 6 to 7 o'clock. Not sure why she's doing it at the exact same time as the city council meeting is going on, because that means you got to pick. You're going to watch your town hall, or you're going to watch the Burbank City Council meeting.
But if the city council meeting goes till 2 a.m., you'll have plenty of time
to
jump in.
But you'll probably miss oral communications, which is usually the spiciest part of the meeting.
That's
why all the action happens.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, she's doing it during oral communications, so you won't miss anything.
And by the way, also at 6 o'clock, we're going to have a Burbank Athletic Federation meeting in the Community Services Building. So that's three things at once at 6 o'clock. I don't know who plans these things.
So take your pick.
Yeah.
So everybody has different interests and priorities, so they'll pick the one they're more interested in.
Well, what's going to happen?
They've got the choice.
What's happening at City Council, Craig?
Well, City Council's got a few things going on. Number one, as part of their consent agenda, is they're going to agree to the sale. They're buying the property at 904, 906 North Lake Street, right next to the Reclamation Center, and they're going to spend $8,200,000 to buy this property. And one of the reasons is eventually, while it doesn't need to today, but in the future, they're going to need to probably expand the water reclamation plant. And instead of having to figure that out later, they're going to be able to have the property that they need right now to make those improvements.
So if people don't know where the water reclamation plant is, just drive over the Burbank overpass
on a hot day,
and you'll smell where it is. Craig and I were around. The animal shelter used to be located underneath the Burbank overpass.
Yes, it did.
And they closed it because they needed to expand, they said, the reclamation plant. Well, that's a pretty shitty deal because they got to expand it again.
Yes, they did.
See what you did there.
Well, I think that's a load of crap.
Well, but if you think about it, we are making, why are they having to do it? They're expanding because either...
Well, yeah, we're expanding because we're going to add 7,000 SB 35 units to the city pretty soon. So, yeah, they need to expand.
Got to go somewhere.
They're going to dump that on all of us, huh?
Yes, they are. Okay, we each got one good line on that. There we go.
Wait, we got to have a button for that. I'm sorry.
Oh, we do have a button for that, of course. I'm
made
sorry.
for this.
There we go.
We know where that's going.
Yes, we do. But the big one for the night, okay, and I got to tell you what, I'm still now confused by all this. They're going to pick a map and change the city and do a new the municipal code for council districts. I thought they had to go through a charter review, a charter amendment that was voted on by the public to do this. Evidently, I need to find out more and I will listen to the meeting to see if they have to or not. But it sounds like this is going to be a done deal, and they're going to adopt a map and adopt 5 districts. So I'm not sure. I guess they're just going to roll over and play dead for this guy who's suing because they don't want to pay the $30,000 or whatever it is for his lawsuit.
So we're spending $300,000 to do all the redistricting. Okay.
Yeah.
We're gonna. It'll be interesting. This is going to be a big topic for the meeting, and it's going to go on for a while, I think, or maybe not. Maybe the council members are going to roll. What goes on in closed session and what they agree to there. Maybe they've already rolled over and played dead on this. I don't know. I'm not a proponent of this in any way.
I know some of the people. I still hear from people. What is this redistrict, folks? If you haven't paid attention, you might not be voting what your next door neighbor will be voting. come a couple of months from now.
How long have we been talking about this? If they don't know now, they're just tuning in.
Well, let me put it this way. You had hair on your head when we started.
What are you trying to say?
You're old.
It's been a while? Oh, okay.
So anyhow, that's going to happen on Tuesday night. I don't know how long.
How dare you?
That could take a long time. It could take a short time. We don't know. But that's on the Tuesday agenda. I think there's too many, like I say, does there need to be a charter amendment about this? Does the citizens of Burbank have the right to approve or not approve this? Does citizens of Burbank have a right to say, we don't want this and we will fight this in court? Or does the citizens of Burbank just say, we're going to roll and play dead? Just do what you want to us.
Apparently, we have nothing to do with it.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just moving right along.
School district did it that way.
Yeah, the school district put out no information whatsoever. They just did it. So.
But now let's talk about one of your favorite topics.
Wednesday?
Police commission?
No.
Oh.
Oh, wait, am I looking at the wrong page?
I'm trying to figure that out.
Page 4.
October 4. Oh, yeah, I guess we are talking about Wednesday.
10-4.
Okay, yeah,
That's right. Your favorite.
Let's stay in chronological order here if we could.
Well, my pages are all goofed up.
This is kind of a day-by-day thing.
And I
the premise
do
of the
at the
whole
top put page numbers on it so you can kind of follow along with.
Well, I goofed up when I was shuffling. I didn't know I had to shuffle the deck tonight.
Okay.
What's going on Wednesday?
Well, on Wednesday it's California Clean Air Day, which is I'm sure is a very worthwhile event. But to celebrate it, the council has voted to waive the Burbank bus fares that day, so people are more encouraged to take public transportation. So they're going to waive the $1 fee on a Burbank bus, and I'm sure it's going to pack the buses. Probably it might double the ridership in one day. So you might have actually 2 people on a bus instead of 1. In fact, we sat there tonight at the Patty's, and we saw 5 Burbank buses go by on Riverside Drive on their busiest route, the pink route, and on one bus did we see 1 rider. Not one bus, not one. But we saw a Metro bus go by with some riders on it.
So a Metro bus.
So they won't be losing money by letting people ride for free if there's never anybody on it to pay the dollar.
That's true. That's absolutely true.
Right?
So,
I get.
But it's symbolic more than anything, right?
Yeah, I don't think people aren't riding the bus because they have to pay $1. I think the Burbank bus system doesn't go where they want to go. Yeah, it doesn't do. It might be nice for getting people to the Burbank or to
the airport,
the subway, the subway in North Hollywood. That's probably nice, but nobody seems to be riding it when we're watching it for that.
But on October 4th, check out the map, the routes they take, and ride it for free. Right. This is not necessarily about
that's true.
How much the system is used or where they go, but the symbolic gesture they're having on that day.
The city's going to have an informational booth in the morning at the Burbank Metrolink station and try to encourage people to what the buses are and what they do,
and to make more use of public transportation and more environmentally friendly.
Well, we have found locally that bus just doesn't, it'll take you to the airport, it'll take you to the subway, get you downtown. I think it has a media district route.
That's the pink one.
But you know what, Craig? We read in locally recently this Metro Med.
No, not Med.
Oh, Metro.
Metro Med's the place for hospital supplies.
That's right, on San Fernando. Metro
Dash, I think it is, or
Metro. It's a new transportation for $1. They'll take you from a bus stop to anywhere you want, and I'm finding it's running all over L.A.
They're going to waive that $1 on October 4th?
Yes, they are.
Yeah,
all the
public transportation
is going to waive their fees that day.
But what I'm reading is younger girls. When I say younger, meaning 20s, 30s. To me, that's younger. They're preferring to take this van, which only has 1 or 2 people on it.
Metro Mini, is that what it's called? I'm trying to remember the name of it.
Take that instead of an MTA bus. They feel safer on it.
Oh.
They take you almost to your destination. For women that work downtown or work at night, you can call and get the bus to a bus stop. They'll pick you up and take you closer to your home. So, again, public transportation. There's other options out there, so
yeah, worth a look. You know what I could use right now?
A cup of coffee.
Mr. Sherwood, a cup of coffee.
A cup of coffee. I was just kind of
Where can I get a cup of coffee on October 4th?
Well, you can go. It's a great place in Burbank called Priscilla's, but
show notes, buddy.
But since we have,
well, I just trying to answer his question. You know, I'm trying to think of a local operator who's been around for a long time. But if you
or Ballers and Brew.
Oh, by the way, that's called Micro Mini. That's it's called Micro Mini.
Oh, you were distracted. That's what happened there.
I was trying to actually do research.
Nice attempt at a recovery. But Ballers and Brew at 407 Irving Drive.
Yeah, but that's where you can get a cup of coffee. But why would you go there for a cup of coffee?
Cup of coffee with a cop.
A cup of coffee with a cop.
So, Coffee with a Cop is Wednesday, October 4th from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. at Ballers and Brew, 407 Irving Drive. And it says here it's free.
Yeah, it said that's what the police put out. They said it's free, so I guess it's free coffee.
Between those hours. So show up between 8 and 11, and you get to enjoy a coffee and maybe some snacks with some members of your local police department. Get to ask them questions, get to know them.
But the cream and sugar is $20 a container. You just have to get the coffee for free.
You can't get it in a plastic cup, though.
No, not a plastic cup either, unless you have 30 people dining there.
Right. They have some...
But it's a great event. I've worked these many times in my career, and it's a great chance, not just for the public to spend some time and get to know some of their local officers, but it's an informal event. There's no pressure, right? And you can ask questions.
And you got questions you want to know about, how things work. Right. It's a great time to do it.
But it's a two-way street because we, as officers, it's a great opportunity for us to interact with the public. In an unstressful situation, a relaxed situation where we're not on a call to your house or something like that, and we can just have conversations. We just chit-chat with each other.
It must be popular because they've had it at this location a few times now.
Well, they have it's Ballers and Brew. It's nice, like you said, because if you have a problem with parking or you have trouble with a neighbor or whatever, this is a good time. You can ask the command staff and some of the PIOs usually there, some other officers, and like you said, in a comfortable setting.
It's a more intimate
right.
environment.
So we encourage you to go by and have a free cup of coffee.
You can ask those questions you've always wanted to ask.
Then we're having a special council meeting on Wednesday.
Don't we have teletype that goes?
We do when you talk about that the pre-production meeting. We'd be glad to include that for you.
I guess I should have showed up.
Oh, you too. You just turn to your respective ends of the table.
The city council is going to meet a special meeting on Wednesday night to talk about the Burbank Center Stage facility, which most of you know as the Colony Theater. And basically, this is from the process that the Park and Rec tried to do before. And a lot of people said it wasn't a very fair process, a very transparent process, the city council. And once again, as much as you want to criticize some of the city council, they said, wait a second, we don't like what's going on here. We're going to take this over. We're going to run it, and we're going to make the decision. And I applaud them for that. And you know what? And they're doing it on a special day. So it won't be, it's the only thing on the agenda. It will be that meeting. They're going to interview all three of the different people, which is the Burbank Community YMCA, the Greenhouse Arts and Media, and the Colony Theater Company, who presently owns and operates, operates the facility.
And they came up with some ground rules and regulations. They're going to make a presentation.
Right.
The public can speak for
1 minute.
1 minute.
1 minute.
Right. So if you're passionate for any of those three, this is the time to speak your voice.
And the council's going to
write it down.
They're going to have a 1 hour interview for each proposer. And then they have a 15 minutes to provide an overview, followed by 45 minutes of questions for council review. So I think it's going to be a televised. It's going to be a very transparent thing.
What they're doing in the council chambers.
And while the council's talking to one group, the other two will wait in nearby conference rooms so they can't hear really what's going on.
What's that called? Sequestered?
Sequestered, yes, that's true. So tomorrow we're going to figure out who's going to run it. Now, I think I will go on the record saying I think the Colony Theater has done a great job. I'm very happy with how the Colony Theater has run it. I'm not sure the Burbank YMCA knows what they're getting into. I think if you look at it, having the Burbank YMCA run a theater would be just another thing for them kind of the way this kind of got lost with the Burbank Park and Rec Department. It was just another thing, and it wasn't any kind of priority. It was just another thing.
What qualifies them to run a theater operation?
Yeah, and I, in all honesty, I really do not know much about the Greenhouse Arts and Media, so it'd be nice to listen to their presentation. But I just think the YMCA, it would just be another thing for them. And in all honesty, too, from what I understand, the Colony Theater has purchased the soundboards and a lot of the equipment inside, which if they're not the operator anymore, they will take with them because they own those items. That means the YMCA would not only have to run the facility, but they'd have to put all new equipment back in it. So,
well, the other thing is this whole RFP process got real messed up, and the people don't realize, if you read our article, Lisa Paredes did a very thorough article.
In fact, I think her article is the reason this whole thing came to light.
Well, quite a bit of it, and people don't realize that they were in the middle of an RFP process with the Colony, and the vendor up at the ball golf course.
And by the way, RFP means request for proposals.
Right, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
Not
vendor,
Mayberry RFP?
Yes.
The vendor up at the Bell quit Burbank, and the Parks Department had to scramble, and because that is Burbank property up there, they had to put a staffer up there to run it. They had to keep the operation running. Well, that took from
the one person doing
it. Well, there's probably more, but
the one person in charge of the RFP process for the Colony became the person doing DeBell. And once again, too many things on one single hat, and that's what I'm scared to have with the YMCA running that thing.
Well,
there's always so many things you can do well at the same time.
Yes.
Well, I find the city has never been real good at as a rental agent or as a landlord. Yes, the tennis center runs itself. Yes, the hockey rink, they got a vendor handling itself. The Colony is kind of different. You can't. There's a lot of, you worked in theater. Mm-hmm. There's a lot to it, and I think they just need to.
I'm naive to this, but they want the person who runs the theater to do all the capital improvements, to pay for them themselves, the upkeep and the capital improvements. Yet, at the Bell Golf Course, I read that they spend millions of dollars this year on new irrigation and to improve the course. So why does the city pay for that and not have the Bell Golf Course pay for that? But they want the Colony people or the whoever rents the theater to pay for the upkeep of the theater. So it seems to be different. Like the city wants to see the golf course thrive, and they're just really don't care much about how the theater operates as long. They just want to be able to say they have a theater that they run.
It's almost like in the schools where sports is more important to them than the arts, right?
Always.
So they eliminate the arts.
I disagree 100%. They have basically eliminated all funding for sports.
Well, no.
So they've gotten to sports. They've eliminated a lot of the arts. Now they've gotten to sports.
Yes.
Right?
So it'll be an interesting meeting. Again, we will have a report after they're done, and
Absolutely.
It'll be a lengthy and interesting hear, listen, and watch. So moving on for
also
we're still Wednesday.
Yeah, still Wednesday. The Civil Service Board. They're going to meet at 430 Community Services Building. They actually have 9 openings for transportation planners. Maybe all 9 can actually ride a Burbank bus and triple the ridership for a time. I don't know why
they could have the meeting on the bus for free.
I just don't know why they need 9 transportation planners for us. Hopefully, the Burbank bus is going to become a ex-Burbank bus one day. I'm all for getting rid of that damn thing. But Ross has a great proposal for what they could do, but nobody seems to want to listen.
It'll be a future Ross's rant.
Yes, it will be.
I've said it for a long time.
So Thursday, moving on. Ross, you've got another ribbon cutting to go to.
What? No way.
Would you believe? Now, this one,
Where are they getting all these scissors? That's what I want to know. And all this ribbon.
Well,
I want to own that business.
Ross has the scissors.
That's what I want.
Well, I did. They took them back.
Oh.
Well,
Well, you kept running with them.
Yeah, you shouldn't run with those scissors.
They were big. Three Sisters Coffee Company. On Thursday, they're going to have a ribbon cutting. And I tell you, if you look at the history, the reason it's called Three Sisters.
Must be three sisters.
Well, it's a family-run business that with ties really deep in our community. Matt and Kristen, is it Sagna? Sagona?
Sagona?
Sagona. Named their three daughters, Danielle, I'm sorry. Lily and Skylar.
That's it. I'm just going to read all the names in here from now on.
Yeah, I think you should for me. My tooth is.
I mean, I don't have any less of a chance of getting it right. But
Well, the building that where the new coffee shop is. Sagna.
Oh, jeez.
Sagona's
Burbank. That's a Burbank Public Schools education, everybody.
Well, no, it's that my tooth.
Oh, your chiclet falling out?
Yeah, and I can't say S's. My sister used to.
You said the SHI word pretty good.
Starting to whistle?
My name was Rotty Benton.
Ross Benson.
But if anybody remembers, now this is a test. If anybody remembers where the upholstery place was on Magnolia, what pizza place was on that corner at Reese and Magnolia for years?
It would be called Pizza Pie.
Well, you knew.
I used to go there for lunch every day from Burroughs.
Okay, but the family runs deeper than that.
You only had three choices every day.
You're
choices.
eating up his 2 minutes.
I know, but you had McDonald's. Everybody went there. Who cared?
Clint's.
You had Clint's, but if you didn't get there early, you wouldn't get in time. If you really thought you could get some distance, you go to Pup and Taco at Buena Vista and Magnolia.
What kind of taco?
Pup and Taco.
Pup and Taco.
Pup and Taco?
Pup and Taco.
What's a Pup and Taco?
Oh, it's a Pup and Taco. And we had one there, and we had one up on Glen Oaks also.
And in Angelino.
And or you could go to Pizza Pie. It had pizza already made, slices already made, and grab some slices. Those are your four choices.
That was a tiny
until you had a car. And then you had a car, the city became yours.
Well, Kristen's family, the Saverts, owned Pickwick Gardens, and we all know what recently happened to Pickwick Gardens.
Well, they didn't own the gardens. They just rented gardens probably.
No, they owned.
Oh, they sold it then?
Yes.
Oh.
I read it, took it right off their website.
Okay.
They had Pickwick Gardens for generations where they worked until the family decided to sell the property. And it was very important to Kristen to reinvest in the Burbank community and watch, which is how the ideas of Three Sisters Coffee and Tea was born. So the family's goal was welcome, happy, inclusive environment. Three Sisters. They have a fantastic webpage. I have been told by numerous people that have stopped by there. It's warm, it's housey, it's really nice.
What's the webpage?
I did have it written down here.
There it is.
I do have it, threesisterscoffee.com.
Wow, spot on. And what time is the ribbon cutting?
I think it's 5 o'clock.
You
5
think?
o'clock. I'm just helping fill in the blanks here. That's all.
It is on my calendar for 5 o'clock.
Okay.
On Thursday, October 5th.
Yeah, stop by. I mean,
Right on.
I have, I think Lisa stopped by. I know Ashley stopped by.
And one thing we don't have enough in the city is coffee places.
Wow.
Or mail carriers.
Or mail carriers. And in fact,
which lucky for us as a city,
we don't have enough mail carriers.
Don't.
Because of the Postal Service is going to be hiring.
If you want to be one.
Yes, they're going to have a job fair at 3307 Glen Oaks Boulevard from 8:30 to 2 p.m. They need mail processing clerks and mail handlers. They need delivery people, city and rural carriers. I'm not sure what rural area we have in Burbank. They need tractor trailer operators, and they need mechanics, labor custodian, and automotive technicians. They have a lot of jobs.
So basically everybody.
Yeah, the Postal Service.
They are hiring.
They're having a job fair, and you know what? You get one of those government jobs.
It's a great job.
It's a pension for life.
Let's have a kid I grew up with just changed career, had a career changed, and became a mail carrier, and he absolutely loves it in New Hampshire.
Now, wait, they're not doing it at a post office on Glen Oaks, are they?
There is no post office on Glen Oaks.
Do we know what is at 3307 Glen Oaks? where they're having it, by any chance?
It's a business.
Okay. I
you
threw
know
you a curveball on that one because I don't know.
Put in 3307,
Okay.
and I bet you
Who's doing
Hillside.
that? You're doing that?
I
You
bet
got
you
that?
Hillside Cafe will come up.
I bet you it doesn't, but I will do that just to
Hill Street?
Hill Street Cafe is about 3300 block.
3307.
I can't wait. Suspense is killing
Yeah,
me.
here's the
What
spin. Because the next thing on our show notes, Craig's going to love anyway. So
No, don't jump ahead. He needs
I
to
will.
concentrate. He's typing.
Okay. It says it's IHSS Ops v Burbank.
Wow,
We'll
say
cut
that
this-
fast.
Let's just go ahead and cut this part out. in editing.
there's no name. It's IHSS Operations Division.
All right.
Bureau of
Whatever that is.
Bureau of Special Operations.
Is that so? It's maybe a government facility of some kind at that address that they
Yeah,
have at
it's,
their disposal. Anyway,
I guess it's a Department of Public Social Services location.
okay.
See, I
3307.
I live in the neighborhood. And I don't even know.
Well, you'll be there because you want to be. You want to carry letters. You want to work.
Well,
Be a mailman.
besides that, we're going to have a Water and Power Board meeting at 5 p.m. They have a very light agenda. The Heritage Commission, it's been canceled. We seem to have no heritage to talk
No
about right now.
Heritage
so.
Commission meeting.
Finally, the weekend. The weekend is coming.
The weekend is coming. The weekend is coming.
It's going to be a hot weekend, by the way. We're talking about between
100.
95 to 100 degrees.
100.
Yeah, we've got,
Well, then that's when my AC is going to kick
we got a
in.
heat wave coming in.
You're going to have to
Understand.
wear your tuna suit. again,
Careful.
So we have a Family Service Agency's Gala, Imagine a City, and they're going to honor Assistant City Manager Judy Wilkie, who is retiring at the end of the year. And Judy Wilkie's been done a great job and been very helpful to us at times, and very approachable. And we're going to wish her the best in her retirement.
She has been.
She's been around Burbank since here. It says since. Oh, FSA has been
No,
around.
Judy
Burbank.
hasn't been around since
Yes.
1953.
Right, FSA has been around Burbank since 1953. So,
Well, if you know Judy, she worked in finance. She worked as our city clerk.
and she worked as Park and Rec.
Oh, she was a park and rec
Director.
director. And I know I'm a busy guy. I shot Judy's first wedding. And
We shouldn't talk
Right.
about that wedding.
Yeah,
Well, we don't.
if you have to say first, then we probably shouldn't
we
talk
shouldn't
about
talk about that.
but her and I joke around because we go way, 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 way back. The daughter of former Larry Stamper and Sue Stamper. But it's going to be held at the Nickelodeon studio.
it. It's a
Which is-
great venue.
Oh, it is. It's kind of neat. I know there's tickets still available. They're doing a wine pool.
Is SpongeBob going to
doing-
be there?
But SpongeBob is in the play yard.
Oh, okay.
But if you're looking for tickets, you want to honor Judy. I know FSA, people don't realize FSA is there here in Burbank for everybody.
They do so many events in the city, so many benefits and stuff. It's great. We often
I'm surprised they're
work
not.
2 or 3 a year.
It says here they've been in Burbank since '53, so this would be 70 years. I wonder why they're not doing a little more of a, 70-year celebration.
Maybe
type of thing.
maybe when they hit 75, that's
Maybe that's
the
yeah.
big one. They'll be around for
But
that.
people don't understand if you get into an argument with your neighbor and you're scared to go out of your house, you should be talking to a counselor or therapist at FSA.
So they will help you out with neighbor disputes and
Oh,
all that, right? Not just
everything.
family related.
Family
topics.
disputes, if you have to go to counseling, court-ordered counseling, there's a lot. They're on every campus here at school, here in Burbank, where kids can go in and talk to counselors. Yeah, everything
So
they do.
all that info, all that stuff's on their website, right?
On their website,
Including getting tickets to the event, which is it Family Service Agency of Burbank.org?
exactly.
That it's a lot of typing, but
Right.
that's it.
right.
Pretty easy to remember.
Yeah, and it's I've covered their galas every year, and I know they do a great job. So
Well,
And that'll be Saturday
next
the
Saturday.
7th.
and actually, the person who wrote this did not do this in chronological order.
You are
But
correct.
earlier in the day,
Well, we know he likes to shuffle things up.
Yes,
We already
earlier-
learned earlier in the podcast.
earlier in the day, Keller Williams is sponsoring a Thank a Soldier, where they do, I guess, goodie packages or They do
like care packages?
care packages for
Care packages.
all the Burbank soldiers.
Last year
it's
they
gonna be-
packaged over several thousand.
It's going to be at UME Credit Union. It's going to run from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. I know UME is a very active partner in that every year. I know there's a lot of community groups that come to help do the packaging. It's a huge Burbank community type thing.
Oh, there will be hundreds.
Great
of
event,
people out
great
there.
cause. Send soldiers that are deployed a little piece of home.
Well, people from Burbank, soldiers that are local, that they'll have kids out there doing drawings. People put in postcards and books and toothpaste and all the necessities that make you feel at home.
Right.
And you know what? It comes from Burbank.
Comes from home.
The city helps postage on those. Last year they filled the truck up, and the nice part is it's free. Bring something that we'll have it on our website, myburbank.com. The things that they're looking for.
So from 10 to 2, they can bring items that they're looking for, but can they
And-
also come and
Well, I
help
don't know.
pack them up?
I'm not sure you
Great.
can still bring the items. That has to be there
No.
before then, doesn't it?
No, you can. They have plenty. They've been storing, but if you bring stuff, they'll put it in.
Okay. Well,
You think about it. Pistachio nuts. Don't put chocolates or
No.
stuff that will melt. But the stuff and they'll buy you lunch. They'll pay for your lunch. They'll have taco. Usually last year they had tacos and burgers, but the only admission is you bring something.
there you go.
Canned goods are good too, right?
No, well,
Or no.
Normally they don't do unless they're
Not
open
not perishables, obviously, but okay, cool.
And just I put on here, yeah, I know I'm out of order. Mark
You are
your
out of
calendar. People want to know something. If you hear it here, you might remember it. Kiwanis.
Well, you're not out of order. Now, this is the next day. This is Sunday.
It says Saturday.
Does it
No,
say
you're
Saturday?
right. It's Sunday. Sunday the 15th.
Yes.
The 15th.
Yeah, Sunday the 15th.
Well, then you have this way out of order
So we're a week early.
because this isn't.
Well, right. I put this down only for people to put it on their calendar
Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right.
because so many people go, "Oh, I wonder what's going on next week."
Then we got to do
Circle that.
a little subheading that says add your calendars for future.
Upcoming.
Yes.
But if they go to my Burbank calendar, which anybody can go to,
MyBurbank.com.
myburbank.com and hit on our calendar, and you will see a lot of things. People are wondering what's going on in town. Take a look at and if it's not there, our executive editor will make sure it's there come tomorrow.
And who's that?
Don't we have a tone for that or something?
Well, I'm trying to figure out if that's even on the calendar, and if not, it's probably because we have not been sent the information.
It came to me today.
Stay tuned.
Okay. Well, guess what? You can submit it on the calendar too.
Okay, I will tonight.
So that brings us finally to the part of the show that you've come to know and love.
The reward for everybody who's still here.
Yes.
Wait, I got a cough.
Which is called, of course, Ross's Rant. And Ross wants to rant about the fact
That there are no parking signs up around McCambridge Park?
they're still back up. They went back.
Still?
No, around McCambridge Park for the Pride Parade.
The last time he
or
ranted,
Pride event.
last time he ranted about Johnny Carson Park and the parking sign, they went down the next day. Well, they didn't learn their lesson.
Right, and the crime
because-
scene tape, that
Yeah, well,
that
now
went down.
the parking signs went up for Pride Day, and they're still up at McCambridge Park.
And I happen to drive by it 3 times a day, so I see them.
So
No, it's
is
not
that
my
your,
response.
is that your rant?
No.
Okay.
no, his rant is all about my tweets. The people need to know I am the one who does the tweets. I am responsible for what they are, snarky or not. I'm responsible for the information. And when I put a tweet out, I put a tweet out, not Ross. Ross does not do
And you are the
anything.
executive editor
executive editor
of MyBurbank.com and all of its subsidiaries.
and all of its subsidiaries. Originator of the podcast and everything else. That's
Right. You're the
So-
grand poobah.
So, Dr. Durling, you get
Yes,
to read
sir.
this second paragraph there.
2 of 3?
Yeah.
I do? Why? There are long words in it? Why do I get to read
No,
it?
the tweet was based.
okay.
The
The tweet was based on the report to the...
Let's tell them what the tweet. The tweet was at the city council meeting. I was listening. The city manager and the police chief talked about the fact Verdugo Fire was going to become an encrypted frequency, which means nobody can listen to them.
They're two-way radios. They're
Right,
communications.
two-way radio encrypted, but nobody can listen to them the way the police department is now. And I was a little shocked by that because I had been told that was not going to happen. But once it came out of the city attorney's mouth and the police chief's mouth, it said, this is going to happen. And I put a tweet out that was going to happen per that conversation.
Right, because the part nobody had heard was that the fire department, that was the news, that the fire department was going encrypted, which fire departments typically aren't.
And of course, because people don't know me, they know Ross, especially in the
this guy.
public service agencies. Ross became part of the firestorm immediately. That how dare you say this? It's not true. And he had to say, look that's at the city council meeting, and here's the part of the meeting it said it on. But I am the one who tweeted it out. So Ross, go ahead and say what you need to say.
Well, there was a firestorm, and I got
a firestorm for the fire department.
First, for everybody he saw, because Ross is the man about town.
Yes, he is.
Well,
the face of
I carry this little device called my smartphone, and the thing lit up.
Thank God something smart.
And that face. You walk around town with that face on, and everybody recognizes it.
My phone lit up. A lot of people tweeted me. I had radio shops from here to San Gabriel saying that I said this. The rumor came from you. And
not a rumor.
It wasn't. But
in full disclosure, even I hit you up because I was getting emails and messages from different organizations and stuff. So,
and what gets me is I had known this because one of the chiefs I asked, Chief Hatch, told me a long time ago, fire department will never go encrypted. And I just knew they weren't. Well, this little tweet that went out got seen by a lot of people and got me in a little hot water.
It was 100% factual.
Yeah, it was, but it's whatever. It's water under the bridge now. But we did make clarification. Fire department, as Craig Sterling just said, will not.
Fire departments typically would not go encrypted because they have too many mutual aid agreements and they work with too many other departments and they need to be able to
it's a safety
communicate with each other.
Safety.
But where you said the content of the tweet was factual because you were reporting that these statements were made in a public forum.
And I said who made them also.
We're not saying that the information they gave at the meeting was factual.
I said who made the statement too.
Exactly.
I didn't say it came from me. So,
yep.
So they have been given the correct information, I have been told. I got a confirmation.
And the record has been corrected.
The record has been corrected. It didn't actually come from me. It was actual from a public meeting, which was on record, which thank goodness. It was, on YouTube and so forth. So hopefully we'll get it straightened out. Moving along.
Well, one thing I want to say.
But the real takeaway here is if you see it on the Twitter account, don't yell at Ross about it.
It comes from me. That does not come from Ross. But I'm going to, because this has been a point of confusion for a lot of people. LAPD is digital. They're not encrypted.
But I don't think most people understand
that. No, I'm trying to say that's the problem. Is that people think when they say, they've gone digital, they think, that means they went encrypted. It has nothing to do.
Two completely different things.
100%. Digital just means you can hear them better. They go off repeaters. Encrypted means...
It's a different technology of transmitting the voices.
Encrypted means it's scrambled.
Correct.
You can't make out a word. But Burbank had been digital for a long time. LAPD
you can still listen to them on a regular scanner you would buy.
Yes.
If they're digital.
Yes.
If they're encrypted, you can't.
Exactly. So a lot of people think, they'd say, LAPD's gone digital. No, they went digital, but they did not go encrypted.
So, folks, let me just add to this. If you see something on Neighborhood, on a lot of these social media platforms, that a Burbank Police 911 dispatcher said this, or I heard this on the scanner, I will tell you, I have been involved with radios now for over 50 years. You are not hearing anything coming from Burbank Police. Their signal is encrypted. Nobody could hear it. If you're reading something, somebody made it up. When I put something on Facebook to clarify, or when we put something out on Twitter, we check our facts. We know what we're talking about. This Neighborhood, what's online, I'll tell you, just people put out stuff, that is erroneous, and don't believe it.
Obviously, if they're putting it out saying that they heard it on the Burbank scanner or radio, it's erroneous, but they may have seen it on the department's Twitter account or something like that. But if they're saying they heard it on the radio, they didn't.
Exactly. Well, that wraps up my rant for the week.
Yeah, that's a good rant. Yeah, and people need to know that,
is this the ceremonial tossing of
the scripts?
Are we
rundowns?
Are we setting them on fire in here?
Yes, we are.
It's already warm enough.
So I'm the king of snark, and nobody else does snark like
You're the
me,
snarkiest,
so
man.
I try to be a little snarky. I think a sense of humor and remember, that's not our news page. That's a social media outlet, and sometimes we can be a little snarky on that because it's different. You don't see me making those snarky comments on our website in our stories, and if I do, it says on top, opinion.
And if people remember when several years ago when Burbank experienced some brush fires, we didn't put any snark out. If there is an emergency and we put out tweets that are of importance, we're not going to screw around.
Right. There's a time to be serious, and
Absolutely.
there's a time you can
Absolutely.
be a little lighter.
Exactly.
Pick your spots. Okay, that's it.
That's it.
If you stayed with us this whole time, then congratulations.
Bravo.
And if you didn't, well, then you couldn't hear this anyway.
Well, we love your letters. We love your emails.
Yeah, please send them in. Yeah, we do read them. We do look at them. Even the bad ones. We just don't comment on those.
No, we have. But no, we're working on some projects. Don't forget, tomorrow's unveiling is very important. October is Breast Cancer Awareness. I shot a photo tonight of the Disney Cancer Center. All I can say, and I will say it here, you're talking 3 guys in this room that put on this show. If you have any family members that haven't had a mammogram, and you know what, guys? Cancer is hitting guys just as much. Prostate cancer, breast cancer in men.
Yeah.
I have experience. You can see the scar in my head of cancer. My partner, Craig Sherwood,
40 years of coaching
went through, had his neck cut open. I've had my leg cut open where they did surgery of cancer in my leg. Cancer is not a laughing matter. If you have a bump or sore or whatever, get it checked.
We're going to do a special podcast, hopefully next week, and have a member of the St. Joseph's Medical Center cancer ward in here and talk about mammograms and the importance of things like that,
Excellent.
prevention and everything else. So
Tune in for that.
that'll be a good podcast, just to give you some information, not to scare you, not to just, it's about, the more you know, the better, information is power.
I think everybody's had a family member that has gotten hit by cancer. So
If you watch the World Series, they always have one of the innings during the World Series where everybody holds up a sign, that they remember somebody
During a moment of silence,
Moment of
usually.
silence.
It's a very powerful moment.
and every single person has a little card, and every single person has a different member of their family, if not maybe multiple.
A friend or coworker.
Yeah, and sometimes it's more than one on that card.
Yep.
that they're thinking about that moment. So,
and now we'll end it with this. I know a lot of people that have gone through double mastectomies. That is not a laughing matter. I will say my sister had a double mastectomy. The gene is in our family. We had our writer, Ashley Erickson.
Who will be doing that podcast, by the way, with the St. Joseph's
Who
people.
had a double mastectomy. It's a topic that we can now have to talk about.
And it's not because she had breast cancer. It's because she had the gene.
She has the gene.
And did not want to eventually catch it down the line.
Preventative.
She's got a couple kids and everything else, and she wanted to be around for them for a long time. So it was a brave decision. So, but
What a way to wrap it up, huh, guys?
Yeah, a little truth and reality.
Nobody's here.
It's funny. It's just something that I thought was important. We're in October.
No, it's very important.
Next month, it's going to be Movember. Grow your mustaches.
Right.
But
I got a head start.
But go get your
I
prostate.
think we all do.
Yeah, we do. Okay. So with that, it's push the button, Max, and we'll see you next week. Here's the button.
My Burbank Talks would like to thank all of My Burbank's advertisers for their continued support. Burbank Water and Power, Cusimano Real Estate Group, UME Credit Union, the Burbank Chamber of Commerce, Gain Credit Union, Providence St. Joseph Medical Center, Community Chevrolet, Media City Credit Union, UCLA Health, Tequila's Cantina and Grill, UPS Store on 3rd Street, and Hill Street Cafe.